All right, what up, y'all? So I am in Miami, stuck in the airport because there's a delay because of the weather. Then you can do about that. So instead of waiting until I got home, I'm like, you know what? Let me just go and shoot this video and do it now. So here's the deal. I think everybody knows that I'm opening a restaurant in Chicago, Soul Crab Atlanta. I'm pretty excited about it. No, wait, Soul Crab Chicago. Soul Crab Chicago. I'm opening. It's a Soul Crab concept, but I'm bringing it to Chicago. 1904 Northwestern. I've already secured the place. So let me just give you a little background information because I think a lot of people don't know what goes into a lot of this stuff. I think people think that you could just take a restaurant and put a restaurant anywhere. Like, oh, there's an available space down the street. Open a restaurant right there. And it's like, see, not how that works at all. Plus, like, the location and the reason I chose Chicago is super important. So you got to understand all of that, just to get a sense of like how to make it work and how to make it work successfully. So here's the deal. So the first thing is I'm opening up Soul Crab in Chicago, and I feel like God has released my ministry in Chicago, if that makes sense. Like, I'm a God dude. I'm probably not the most religious, but I do firmly believe in God. And I believe that like there's a force bigger than you and I that's like orchestrating everything. And it's like things are laid out and worked out on our behalf. So with that being said, it was like I have been praying and basically asking God, like, where should the next location be? I want to put Soul Crab and Greens and Gravy all over this country. But I feel like if God hasn't released the ministry to operate in those areas, what difference does it make? And when I say released, I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. So the same thing happened in Atlanta, where I basically paid a fraction of the cost for everything I got because the place had been left abandoned by the previous owner for whatever reason, all right? I feel like if my ministry wasn't released and I felt like I was trying to do this on my own time, that wouldn't have happened. So essentially, the amount of money I paid, I don't even want to tell you, but it's just like I paid basically pennies for all of the equipment. And when I got Soul Crab Atlanta, I basically paid the security deposit, paid a couple dollars, and moved right in. Like, I didn't have to do construction, I didn't have to do renovation, I didn't have to do any of that. You see what I'm saying? And that's a big chunk of the cost when you open up a restaurant, is all the capital to get it started. Everything was there, even down to the wiring of the POS system. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I feel like God is in all of that. And the same thing for Chicago. So Chicago wasn't even on the market like that. It was like on the underground, on like the black market. And what had happened was I put the feelers out, and I've been looking to get in Chicago for like 2 years. But let me tell you something. The reason, now it all makes sense. The reason I couldn't find a spot in Chicago 2 years ago was because it wasn't time. I wasn't ready. I had opened up Soul Crab Atlanta. So I had gone through the headaches and the pain and, you know, trying to make the systems and understanding prep and understanding high turnover and understanding, you know, employees who aren't loyal. Like, I had a lot to learn from Atlanta, and luckily we bounced back from all of that stuff. But now I can go into Chicago real fresh, like just ready to roll, ready to operate. You know what I mean? So I feel really happy about just the stuff I've learned, and I'm glad I didn't open up before now, because I don't think I would have been able to handle it. Like, I think going to a place like Chicago, you got to be on point, and Lord knows I wouldn't have been on point at all. Okay, now I feel like I got it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm ready, so we'll see. All right, so the place in Chicago used to be a restaurant. What happened was the previous owner, much like the place in Atlanta, the previous owner basically wanted to get out of his deal because he, I guess the concept that he had didn't do well, and he was losing money, so he wanted to get out the deal. Now, he couldn't just abandon his lease. What he had to do was basically package the business and sell his whole business. So in order for me to get the spot, I had to basically buy his whole business. Now, it was a hair under $100,000 to buy the man's business, but with it came not just the lease, but all the equipment. The place is already licensed, the place is already zoned, which is a lot of the issue when you do a new restaurant. Is it's got to be licensed, it's got to be zoned. All this stuff is already taken care of. So you think about the $150,000 you would put into a brand new restaurant. That's on the low end. And the fact that you walk into a spot that you don't have to worry about construction permits to do construction, it's kind of already set up. So this place was already set up, ready to go. And as confirmation, because I know God is working on my behalf, the same POS system that we use in Atlanta for Soul Crab is the same POS that's already wired in Chicago. So it's like, it's a win-win in all situations. So for those of you who don't know, here's what needs to happen. So the deals that you do for real estate in Illinois cannot be done by a real estate agent. You have to enlist the help of a real estate attorney as well. So not only on my team do I have my agent, I also have the attorney that I had to retain. Retain me more money, okay? The deal had to be basically gone through line by line because you have it's a two-part deal. The first part of the deal happens to be with the landlord and everything with the lease and taking over the lease. That's the first part. And the second part has to do with everything pertaining to the business that you're buying. So stocks that you are having canceled, stocks that are being issued out to you, change of ownership on all levels with all governing agencies and the whole bit. So when you think about all of that, there's a lot of moving part. And so that the terms are favorable, you need to make sure that you're doing negotiations, because what typically happens is if you don't negotiate from the get-go, you're going to get into a bad deal and you're stuck in a bad deal for 10 years. So you need a beast of an attorney who can handle all that for you. And seeing as though I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, and this is taking place in Chicago, you need somebody boots on the ground who can handle this for you in Chicago. So in and of itself, there's a lot of moving parts. The negotiation process alone took like 6 weeks. So I know y'all was like, well, when you gonna open? And I'm like, well, before we can even say we got the place, we know we need to make sure that we're presenting ourselves, we need to make sure we're entering into an agreement. And at a certain point, you enter into negotiations like they call a letter of intent on both parts. So letter of intent from my side to their side, that we are not going to look at any other place. This is a place that we want. We're dead set on it. As long as the deal balances out, we're good. And we don't need financing, okay, which is important. And the letter of intent from their end that says we won't accept any more clients, we won't accept anybody else looking. At this point, it's just you, and we're gonna go for it. So that's like a 6-week process to go through that with a fine-tooth comb. A lot of meetings, a lot of phone calls, a lot of site visits, but it is what it is. And you have to negotiate down everything, like to how much money should you spend annually on air conditioning or heating or whatever the case may be. Like, it's not just I'm going to open up a restaurant. It's like, common areas, and the maintenance required for common areas. Who's responsible for sweeping it? Like, you have to get down to every nitty detail. And if they're going to do sweeping or they're going to do common area maintenance and you have to pay for it, are you paying too much? What are the comps saying for other spaces in the same area that are the same square footage? Like, I mean, literally, there's a lot of stuff you have to go through before you can even talk about opening a restaurant, okay? So we had to go through all that. We did all that. The deal was done, got the keys, good. Now, where are we? This is what I think you guys want to know. Okay, Darius, when you open it up. So I have a few more things to do before I can open. And so let me walk you through some of that. And I think when I get to Chicago and stuff, again, like I just left Chicago, but when I go back to Chicago, the next video probably I'll do there just to give you an update. You know what I mean? All right, so the first thing we need to do, besides all the paperwork stuff, which is being done now, is we have to get the signs installed. So we're having new window decals installed. If you Google Maps 1904 Northwestern Avenue in Chicago, 60647, you can see Lange Market, you can see the decals in the window. Those are all coming down, and Soul Crab Chicago is going to be up there. I think they're installing them on Thursday, but I got to be in California on Thursday, so I probably won't get back to the Midwest. I won't get back to Atlanta until next week, which is probably like a Monday, I think Sunday, Monday, and then I won't get to Chicago until a day or two after that. So anyway, I ain't gonna be able to see them for another week and a half. That's what I'm trying to tell you. But luckily I'm able to handle all that remotely. I just happened to be in Chicago, so I just happened to meet the sign installer, the account rep while I was there, and so that was cool, right? The second thing we gotta do is we gotta get it cleaned. So it's been sitting for a while, so there's like dust and dirt and stuff and stuff and whatnot. So we gotta get all that stuff cleaned up. That's important. So we'll get all that stuff done. We'll get a cleaning crew in. They'll get it all cleaned up. I certainly don't have time to spend cleaning. Not that it's beneath me. I just have other things going on. You know what I'm saying? Then we have to get all our vendors in place and all our vendor contracts. So Centos, who's going to handle aprons and towels and mops and the air conditioning the air freshener for the bathrooms and the mats and all that stuff. We have to get our liquor vendor lined up. Our food vendor, which we already have lined up, who's going to deliver our food. Our grease pickup is important, the exterminator, and then our internet provider, which I think that should just about cover everything. It needs a good power washing outside, so I'll probably find somebody to do that. And that's it, I think. Those are like the main things, but I don't have any of those contracts lined up, okay? It's a quick turnaround time, but I just don't have them all done. So we'll get all that stuff in place, and then we'll be good to go from a vendor standpoint. So then it's just setting a date on when we want to have our deliveries and things like that. There's one thing I want to do. So when you come to Soul Crab Chicago, the way, it's hard to describe, but the way I'll have to show you. Next video I'll show you. The way they have it made, I think we can get about 50 or so people in, but it's not a lot of space for like large parties. So that's the only downfall. There is this space that could be used as a bar, but it needs a front part built, like a front counter. It needs that built. So I'm actually going to be looking for an independent contractor, a general contractor, well, both, okay? A general contractor to come in and fix that up for me. So that's one small thing that should take like 2 or 3 days to build. So we'll have that done. But anyway, that's minor. After we do that, we have to hire and train staff. So I always start with management team. I let management team hire their own staff. I will set training parameters. The good thing is all these parameters are already done. The stuff is already complete because it's done for Atlanta. So all our manuals, our recipe books, our NDAs, our new hire orientation package, like all the stuff is already complete, which is always a good thing. Then we'll get our menus printed, and then we'll do a 14-day countdown on social media to get us ready. We'll have a grand opening date. So let's say the grand opening date is the 14th. Normally I'll open the doors like the 13th. The 11th, the 12th. Just so we get a run through, like a soft run through. And then what I also do is I won't offer the full menu for like the first 2 or 3 weeks. It's going to be an abbreviated menu. I learned my lesson. Okay, so most popular items will be abbreviated and then we'll run through. Oh, and I need to buy a grill. I need to buy a grill. Write that down. Buy a grill. So that we could grill the lobsters and stuff. It's like a little grill pan, but I need a grill with some smoke. We have 2 hoods that are already installed because that's how God moves. There's 2 hoods installed on either side, so I can put a grill there and really just tear it up. Okay, just tear it up. So anyway, that's the update. That's where we are with Soul Crab Chicago. I still don't have an open date. If I had to guess, maybe the next 30 days, we probably could get all this stuff done. 30 days, 45 days. I'm certainly not in any rush because it needs to be perfect, and I'm not going to rush the perfection, okay? With that being said. So anyway, leave me comments if you have questions about anything. Don't ask me if I'm hiring yet because I'm not, so you probably want to save those. And if you're on the Chicago job boards when the jobs are posted, then you can apply that way. Other than that, that's it. All right, that's the update that I have for you for Soul Crab Chicago. Get ready, 1904 Northwestern. I'm excited about it. And I know everybody's asking, well, bring when you gonna bring greens and gravy? Okay, I don't know, but we'll do our best. Okay, when you gonna do this? I don't know, but it's coming. Okay, we're gonna do it. I promise. When the Lord releases the ministry, God has to move first, and then you follow behind. Okay, because when He go first, I'm telling you, everything be set up. All you gotta do is walk in and just like set up shop. That's it. You just move in. Trying to tell you. Two things I want to tell you as I always do. First of all, I love you. Second of all, food is my life. Life is my food. Until next time, I gotta wish you a happy cooking from my heart to yours. Bye, y'all.